I stood alone on the stage at Harvard University, diploma in hand, scanning the sea of proud families in the audience, searching desperately for even one familiar face that never appeared. My parents, my sister Emma, my aunts, uncles, everyone had promised they'd be there for the most important day of my life. But when I looked out into that crowd of thousands celebrating their graduates, I was completely and utterly alone. They had chosen my younger sister's birthday party over my Harvard graduation, and that choice would cost them everything they held dear. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and this is the story of how I went from being the invisible daughter to the one person my family would desperately need, only to find them when it was far too late to matter. Growing up in Boston, Massachusetts, I was always the responsible one, the quiet achiever who never caused problems or demanded attention. My sister Emma, 3 years younger, was the complete opposite. Charismatic, outgoing, always the center of attention at every family gathering. Where I spent Friday night studying in my room, Emma was out with friends, posting endless photos on social media, living what my parents called a normal teenage life. The contrast couldn't have been starker, and from an early age I understood my role in the family. I was the dependable background character in Emma's starring role. My father, Robert Mitchell, worked as a senior manager at a tech company in Cambridge, while my mother, Patricia, was a real estate agent who spent most of her time networking and attending social events. They weren't bad parents, not in the traditional sense. They provided for us, made sure we had what we needed, attended Emma's cheerleading competitions and dance recitals. But my achievements always seemed to fall on a different day, at a less convenient time, in a less exciting venue. When I got accepted to Harvard with a full academic scholarship at 17, the biggest accomplishment of my young life, my parents were thrilled for exactly one dinner conversation before Emma announced she'd made varsity cheerleading squad. Guess which achievement got framed and hung in the living room? It wasn't my Harvard acceptance letter. If you're enjoying this story and can relate to feeling overlooked, I'd really appreciate it if you'd click that subscribe button right now. We're working toward our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and your support means everything to this channel. Just hit that red subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds and helps us keep bringing you these real, emotional stories. The 4 years I spent at Harvard were transformative but lonely. I threw myself into my studies, majoring in biomedical engineering with a minor in business administration. I worked part-time at a research lab, volunteered at a free clinic in Roxbury, and maintained a near-perfect GPA. I called home every week, sharing my small victories, making the dean's list, getting published in a student research journal, landing a competitive internship at Massachusetts General Hospital. My mother would listen politely for a few minutes before the conversation inevitably shifted. "That's wonderful, honey. Oh, did I tell you Emma got asked to prom by the quarterback? We're taking her dress shopping this weekend. You know how important these memories are." My father was even more direct. "Great job, Sarah. Listen, I've got to run, but keep up the good work. We're proud of you." Click, dial tone, back to being alone. Meanwhile, Emma's social media presence exploded. My parents documented every moment of her high school experience: homecoming, prom, graduation parties, college tours. Her Instagram was a highlight reel of a perfect American teenage dream, and my parents were her biggest fans, constantly commenting, sharing, celebrating every mundane moment as if it were historic. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself I was building a future, that grades and accomplishments would speak louder than popularity and parties. I told myself that one day, they'd realize what I'd achieved and be proud. I held on to that hope like a lifeline through 4 years of holidays spent alone in my dorm room, because Emma had a party to attend. 4 years of achievements celebrated with a quick text message if I was lucky. The winter of my senior year, everything changed. I was selected as the student speaker for Harvard's graduation ceremony, an honor given to one undergraduate out of thousands. When I called home with the news, practically vibrating with excitement, my mother answered, "Mom, I have incredible news. I've been chosen to give the commencement speech at graduation. Out of the entire senior class, they picked me." The ceremony is May 20th, and I know it's early, but I wanted to make sure you and Dad could request time off work and that Emma could plan around it. This is huge, Mom. This is really, really huge. There was a pause on the line, then a sound I'd learned to recognize over the years. My mother's problem voice. Oh, honey, that's amazing. Really, truly amazing. Let me talk to your father and check our calendars. May 20th, you said. Yes, it's on a Saturday, 2 p.m. start time. I know it's a few months away, but I wanted to give everyone plenty of notice. I'll be speaking in front of thousands of people, Mom. This is the biggest honor of my academic career. Of course, sweetie. I'm so proud of you. Listen, I need to run. I've got a showing in 20 minutes, but we'll definitely work this out. Love you. If you're noticing the red flags here, please hit that subscribe button to join our community. We're almost at our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and clicking that button helps us share more stories like this one. Your subscription literally takes 2 seconds, but means the world to us. 3 weeks later, I received a text message from Emma. OMG, Sarah. Mom and Dad are throwing me the biggest 20th birthday party ever. May 20th. It's going to be at that fancy country club DJ, catered food. All my friends. I'm so excited I could die. My blood turned to ice water in my veins. I immediately called my mother. Mom, did you see Emma's text? She's having her birthday party on May 20th. That's my graduation day. My Harvard graduation where I'm giving the commencement speech. You can't possibly be planning a party that day. My mother's sigh was audible, tired, as if I were the one being unreasonable. Sarah, honey, I know the timing isn't ideal, but Emma's been planning this for weeks. She's invited over 100 people. We've already put down a deposit at the country club. These things are expensive and complicated to reschedule. Can't you just record your speech and send it to us? We'll watch it, I promise. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Record it? Mom, this is my Harvard graduation. I'm giving the commencement address. This is literally the biggest academic achievement of my life. Emma's 20th birthday is just a birthday. She'll have more. I'll never have another Harvard graduation. Don't minimize your sister's milestone, Sarah. Not everyone can be the academic superstar. This party is important to Emma, and frankly, you've always been more independent. Emma needs us there. You understand, don't you? You've always been so understanding. Understanding. That word had become a weapon in my family, a way to make me complicit in my own neglect. No, Mom, I don't understand. I need you there. For once in my life, I need my family to show up for me. I've spent 4 years working myself to exhaustion, and I'm asking for one day, one single day, where I'm the priority. Sarah, you're being selfish. Family is about compromise. We've supported you through college. We've paid for everything you needed. Now it's Emma's turn to have her moment. Be happy for your sister. The gaslighting was so smooth, so practiced, that for a moment I almost fell for it. Almost. You didn't pay for college, Mom. I have a full scholarship. You haven't paid for anything in 4 years except the occasional care package. And supporting me isn't about money. It's about showing up. It's about being present. It's about choosing me for once. We'll make it up to you, I promise. We'll take you out to a nice dinner the following weekend to celebrate. But Sarah, be reasonable. We can't cancel Emma's party. Please don't make this difficult. Please take a moment right now to hit that subscribe button if this story is resonating with you. We're building a community of people who understand complicated family dynamics, and we're so close to reaching 1,000 subscribers. Click that red button and be part of our growth. I hung up and immediately called my father at work, hoping he'd be the voice of reason. I was wrong. Dad, please tell me you're not seriously choosing Emma's birthday party over my Harvard graduation. His response was dismissive, automatic. Sarah, your mother explained the situation. Emma's party has been planned for weeks. There are deposits. Invitations have gone out. You're an adult now. You need to understand that sometimes things don't work out the way we plan. We're very proud of your graduation, but we have responsibilities to your sister too. Responsibilities. What about your responsibility to me? What about the promise you made when I got accepted to Harvard that you'd be there when I graduated? What about 4 years of me being the lowest priority in this family? That's not fair, Sarah. We've always treated you girls equally. Just because we can't make it to one event doesn't mean we don't love you. You're being dramatic. This isn't like you. Maybe that's the problem, Dad. Maybe I've been too understanding, too accommodating, too willing to accept being second best for so long that you actually think this is reasonable. I'm giving the commencement address at Harvard University. Harvard. Do you even understand what that means? I understand you're upset, but life isn't fair, Sarah. Sometimes we have to make difficult choices. Emma needs us there for her party. You're strong. You'll be fine. You've always been fine. I sat in my apartment after that call, staring at my acceptance speech draft on my laptop, and something inside me broke. Not broke as in shattered, but broke as in broke free. 21 years of being the understanding daughter, the easy child, the one who didn't need attention or validation. And this was what it got me. A family who genuinely believed that a birthday party, one of many my sister would have, was more important than a once-in-a-lifetime academic achievement. I made a decision that night. I wouldn't beg anymore. I wouldn't plead or try to convince them. I'd given them the information, extended the invitation, made my case. What they did with it was their choice, and I'd live with whatever consequences came from their decision. Over the next 2 months, my family group chat was full of party planning. My mother sent constant updates about Emma's dress, the decorations, the catering menu, photos of tablecloth samples, flower arrangements, invitation designs. Emma posted daily countdowns on Instagram. 30 days until the party of the century. 2 weeks until I turned 20, surrounded by everyone I love. I continued preparing my speech, refining every word, practicing my delivery. I applied to graduate programs, interviewed for research positions, planned my future, and I stopped engaging with the party planning. When my mother would ask in the family chat if I had suggestions for Emma's party, I'd respond with brief, polite messages. Sounds nice. Good choice. I'm sure Emma will love it. My mother called 2 weeks before graduation, her voice tight. Sarah, you've been very short with us lately. Is something wrong? Nothing's wrong, Mom. I'm just busy with finals and graduation preparations. You know, my Harvard graduation that I'll be speaking at. Alone. Please don't start that again. We explained the situation. Emma's party is important. And you've made it very clear what's important to this family. I've accepted it. Now, I need to go. I have a study session. If you're watching this and thinking about your own family dynamics, do me a favor and click that subscribe button right now. We're working hard to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support helps keep this channel going. Just one click on that red subscribe button, and you're part of our community. The week before graduation, I received multiple texts from Emma. Can you help me pick out jewelry for my party? Sarah, what do you think about this hairstyle for my big day? You're still coming to my party, right? Even though you have that graduation thing in the morning? That graduation thing. My Harvard commencement, where I'd give a speech to thousands. That graduation thing. I didn't respond. My mother called. Sarah, Emma says you're not responding to her messages about the party. She wants you there. It would mean a lot to her if her big sister was at her celebration. Mom, my graduation ceremony ends around 5 p.m. By the time I change, get my things, and drive to the venue, Emma's party will be half over. Besides, I wasn't aware my presence was required, given that my family won't be at my graduation ceremony. That's not fair, Sarah. No, Mom, it's not. But it's reality. I hope Emma has a wonderful party. I really do. But I'm not going to rush through celebrating my Harvard graduation to make an appearance at a birthday party that was deliberately scheduled to conflict with the most important day of my life. You're being spiteful. I'm being honest. There's a difference. I need to go. I have a meeting with my advisor. I didn't. I just couldn't listen anymore to the mental gymnastics required to make me the villain in this story. Graduation day arrived with perfect New England spring weather, clear blue skies, temperature in the mid-70s, a gentle breeze that felt like a blessing. I woke up in my apartment at 6 a.m., too excited and nervous to sleep. I'd laid out my outfit the night before. A white dress to wear under my crimson graduation robes, comfortable shoes for standing during the ceremony, minimal jewelry. I got ready slowly, methodically, trying to savor every moment. This was my day. I'd earned it through 4 years of relentless work, countless all-nighters, sacrifices my family would never understand or appreciate. I looked at myself in the mirror, fully dressed in my graduation regalia, and felt a mix of pride and profound sadness. I'd fantasized about this moment for years, my parents' faces beaming with pride, Emma grudgingly admitting her big sister was pretty cool, family photos in Harvard Yard, celebration dinner at that Italian restaurant my father loved. Instead, I'd celebrate alone, take selfies instead of family photos, eat dinner solo at whatever restaurant had availability. I took an Uber to campus, arriving 2 hours before the ceremony to go through speaker preparations. The other student speakers were surrounded by families taking photos, parents fussing with their children's robes, siblings complaining good-naturedly about the early start time. I stood alone, checking my phone compulsively, part of me still hoping to see a message saying they'd changed their minds. They were coming. I mattered. Nothing. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're invested in how this story unfolds. We're so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and every subscription helps us grow this community. Just click that subscribe button, it's right there, and you'll never miss an update. The ceremony began exactly at 2 p.m. in Tercentenary Theater, Harvard Yard. 30,000 people filled the space, graduates, families, faculty, staff. The energy was electric, a collective joy and pride that was almost tangible. I sat with the other speakers on stage, looking out at a sea of faces, searching one last time for my family. They weren't there. When my name was called to give the commencement address, I walked to the podium with my head high, diploma clutched in my sweating palm. I looked out at those thousands of people, at all those families celebrating their children, and I felt utterly alone. But I also felt something else. Free. I'd spent 21 years seeking validation from people who were incapable of giving it. I'd tied my worth to their approval, their attention, their presence. Standing there at that podium, I realized their absence was actually a gift. It clarified everything I needed to know about my relationship with my family, and it freed me from the obligation of pretending their love was unconditional. I gave my speech. It was about resilience, about defining success on your own terms, about the families we choose versus the families we're born into. I didn't plan to make it about my situation, but standing there alone, the words flowed from a place of raw honesty. I talked about working 3 jobs to afford textbooks my scholarship didn't cover. I mentioned spending holidays alone because being physically present with family sometimes means being emotionally absent from yourself. The response was overwhelming. People stood, applauded. Some cried. Several faculty members approached me afterward, sharing their own stories of family dysfunction and personal resilience. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from classmates, from people I barely knew, saying my words had resonated deeply. Not a single message from my family. At 5 p.m., the ceremony concluded. Families flooded the yard, taking photos, celebrating, making dinner plans. I stood alone near the John Harvard statue, watching everyone else's joy, feeling completely hollow. I took a few selfies, trying to capture at least some documentation of the day, but my smile looked forced, artificial, sad. I changed out of my robes in the nearest bathroom, carefully folding the crimson gown that represented 4 years of my life. I tucked my diploma into my bag. This piece of paper that was supposed to mean everything but somehow felt empty without anyone to share it with. I decided to walk through Cambridge instead of heading straight home. The city was alive with graduates and their families, restaurants overflowing, laughter echoing down every street. I ended up at the Charles River, watching the sunset paint the water in shades of orange and pink, and I let myself cry. Not angry tears, just sad ones, mourning the family I'd always wanted, but never had. My phone buzzed. Finally, a message from my mother. Emma's party is beautiful. Wish you could be here to see how happy she is. Hope your graduation went well. We'll celebrate soon, I promise. A group photo followed. My parents, Emma, aunts, uncles, cousins, all dressed up and smiling at the camera, champagne glasses raised. Emma wore a stunning designer dress, hair and makeup professionally done, looking like a princess at her ball. My mother's face glowed with pride. My father had his arm around Emma, beaming. I studied that photo for a long time. This was their choice. This was what they valued. And I needed to accept it and move forward. I didn't respond to the message. Before we continue with what happened next, please take a moment to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're building something special here, working toward our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and your support makes all the difference. Hit that red subscribe button right now. Over the next few days, I received sporadic messages from family members asking how graduation went, each message feeling obligatory rather than genuinely interested. I responded with brief facts. It went well. I gave my speech, got my diploma, starting my research position in 2 weeks. No one asked for photos. No one asked for details. No one acknowledged that they'd missed one of the most important days of my life. A week after graduation, my mother called. Sarah, we need to talk about your attitude. You've been cold and distant, and frankly, it's hurtful. Emma's feelings are hurt that you didn't come to her party or even send a present. Family is supposed to support each other. The audacity was breathtaking. Mom, I'm going to say this once, very clearly. You missed my Harvard graduation where I gave the commencement address. You chose a birthday party over what may be my single greatest achievement. You don't get to lecture me about family support when you've proven repeatedly that I'm not a priority. I'm not cold or distant. I'm protecting myself from people who hurt me. Sarah, that's incredibly unfair. We explained why we couldn't make it. You're holding a grudge over nothing. It's not nothing to me, Mom. And that's the problem. You'll never understand why it matters because you've decided it doesn't. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. Done begging for crumbs of attention. Done pretending your neglect doesn't hurt. Done. You're being dramatic and childish. When you're ready to apologize for your behavior, we'll be here. Family is forever, Sarah, whether you like it or not. I hung up and immediately blocked my mother's number, then my father's, then Emma's, then every extended family member who'd been at that party instead of my graduation. The freedom was instantaneous and overwhelming. I threw myself into my new position as a research assistant in a neuroscience lab at Massachusetts General Hospital. The work was challenging, fascinating, consuming. I made friends with my lab colleagues, people who were brilliant and driven and supportive. I started dating someone I'd met during undergrad, a fellow graduate who treated me with respect and genuine interest. Months passed. Summer turned to fall. I moved into a new apartment in Somerville, decorated it exactly how I wanted, created a life that felt authentically mine. I didn't post on social media, didn't send holiday cards, didn't reach out to my family. I existed in a bubble of my own making, and for the first time in my life, I felt peaceful. In November, 6 months after graduation, I received an email from an administrator at Harvard. My commencement address had been featured in a viral video compiled by a psychology professor who studied family dynamics. The video, titled Chosen Family and the Myth of Unconditional Love, had millions of views and thousands of comments from people sharing their own stories of family alienation. The video had tagged my family members on social media, presumably because someone had done internet detective work connecting me to them. Suddenly, my phone started receiving notifications from numbers I didn't recognize. Friends of my parents, distant relatives, people from my hometown. I ignored them all. Then I received an email from my former academic advisor. Sarah, I don't know what's happening with your family, but your mother has been calling the department repeatedly asking for your contact information. We've informed her we can't release that information without your permission. She seems distressed. Just wanted you to be aware. I felt nothing. No concern, no guilt, no urge to reach out. Whatever crisis was unfolding, it was a consequence of their choices, not my responsibility. 2 weeks later, I was working late at the lab when security called up. There's a Robert Mitchell here to see you. Says he's your father. Should I send him up? My hands went cold. No. Tell him I'm not available and ask him to leave. He's saying it's an emergency. Family emergency. I closed my eyes, steadying myself. Tell him if there's a genuine emergency to call 911. Otherwise, I'm not available. If he refuses to leave, call the police. 5 minutes later, security called back. He's left, but he left an envelope for you at the desk. I didn't pick it up that night, or the next day, or the day after that. 3 days later, my supervisor mentioned in passing that security had an envelope for me, and did I want it brought up? I finally agreed. The envelope was heavy, expensive stationery, my name written in my father's distinctive handwriting. Inside was a letter, 5 pages, handwritten. Please subscribe to our channel before we get into what that letter said. We're so incredibly close to 1,000 subscribers, and clicking that button helps us continue sharing stories like this. Just hit subscribe. It takes 2 seconds but means so much to us. The letter began, Sarah, I don't know where to start. Your mother and I are desperate to reach you. Emma is in crisis, and we need your help. Please, if you ever loved this family, call us back. I almost threw the letter away unread. But morbid curiosity won out. I kept reading. According to my father's letter, Emma had been diagnosed with a rare autoimmune condition 2 months earlier. The symptoms had started gradually: fatigue, joint pain, strange rashes. Initially, doctors thought it was stress or lupus. Further testing revealed something more serious: a condition that was attacking her nervous system, potentially life-threatening without aggressive treatment. The treatment options were limited and experimental. One option involved a clinical trial at Massachusetts General Hospital for a new immunotherapy treatment. The catch? The trial was highly selective, only accepting patients with specific genetic markers and medical histories. Emma had the markers, but the trial was oversubscribed, with a waiting list of dozens of patients. My father's letter became more desperate with each paragraph. They'd exhausted every conventional option. Emma's condition was deteriorating rapidly. The trial at Mass General was her best hope, possibly her only hope. And the lead researcher on that trial was Dr. Jennifer Larson, who happened to be my direct supervisor in the neuroscience lab. Sarah, I know we failed you. I know missing your graduation was unforgivable. Your mother and I have watched your commencement speech 1,000 times, crying, understanding too late what we put you through. We were terrible parents to you, prioritizing Emma's wants over your needs repeatedly. We have no right to ask you for anything. But Emma is dying. She's 20 years old and she's dying, and you're our only hope. Please, please, if you have any compassion in your heart, talk to Dr. Larson about Emma's case. We're begging you. The letter ended with both my parents' signatures and a PS from Emma. Sarah, I'm sorry I was a spoiled brat. I'm sorry I never stood up for you. I'm sorry I let Mom and Dad treat you like you didn't matter. I wish I could take it all back. I don't deserve your help, but I'm asking anyway because I'm terrified. Please. I sat in my apartment that night, letter spread on my coffee table. staring at it like it was a bomb that might explode. Part of me felt vindicated. They finally understood what they'd done, finally felt the consequences of their choices. Part of me felt sick. Emma was genuinely ill, possibly dying, and they were asking me to use my professional position to help her. I called my mentor from undergrad, a psychology professor I trusted. I read her the letter, explained the situation, asked for advice. "Sarah, this is an impossible situation, and I'm sorry you're in it. Here's what I'll say. You don't owe your family anything, not after how they treated you. If you choose to help, do it because it's the right thing professionally, not because of family obligation. But if you choose not to help, that's also valid. You can't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm, even family." I didn't sleep that night. I thought about Emma, who was annoying and spoiled, but had never been actively cruel. I thought about my parents, who loved Emma excessively, and me insufficiently. I thought about the Hippocratic oath I'd someday take, about doing no harm, about the ethics of letting personal feelings influence professional decisions. The next morning, I walked into Dr. Larson's office. "I need to talk to you about something personal that intersects with your clinical trial." I explained everything: the estranged family, the missed graduation, the desperate letter. I was completely transparent about my conflict of interest. Dr. Larson listened without interrupting, her expression neutral. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. "Sarah, I appreciate your honesty. Here's the situation. I can't give your sister preferential treatment in the trial selection process because of your position here. That would be unethical, and it would compromise the integrity of our research. However, I can review her medical file like I would any patient, and make a professional determination about whether she qualifies. That's all I'm asking, not special treatment, just a fair evaluation. If she doesn't qualify or if there are better candidates, I understand. I just don't want to be the reason she doesn't get considered." Dr. Larson nodded. "Have your parents submit her complete medical records through the proper channels. I'll review them personally. But Sarah, you need to understand something. Even if she qualifies, the trial is experimental. Success rates are moderate at best. This isn't a miracle cure." "I understand. Thank you for being willing to look at her case fairly." I didn't tell my family what I'd done. I didn't reach out, didn't respond to the letter, didn't give them false hope. If Emma's application was accepted, they'd find out through official channels. If it wasn't, at least I'd know I'd tried. 2 weeks later, Dr. Larson called me into her office. "I've reviewed your sister's case. She qualifies for the trial. Her genetic markers are actually quite interesting from a research perspective, and her disease progression aligns with our study parameters. We'll be contacting her directly about enrollment." I nodded, feeling unexpectedly emotional. "Thank you." "Sarah, I want you to know something. I didn't accept her because of you. I accepted her because she's a good candidate who could benefit from the treatment while also contributing valuable data to our research. Your family should be grateful, but not to you. They should be grateful she has the medical profile we need. Subscribe now if you want to see how this family confrontation unfolds. We're incredibly close to 1,000 subscribers, and your support keeps this channel alive. Click that subscribe button and join our growing community. 3 days later, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Sarah?" It was my mother's voice, thick with tears. "Sarah, is that really you?" "What do you want, Mom?" "Emma got accepted into the clinical trial at Mass General. They called us this morning." "Sarah, this is a miracle. This is an answer to every prayer we've sent up. The doctor mentioned they had a particularly thorough review process for Emma's case. Did you have anything to do with this?" I was silent for a moment, choosing my words carefully. Emma's medical file was reviewed fairly by the lead researcher. She was accepted because she qualifies for the study, not because of any personal intervention. I work in a different department entirely. It wasn't quite a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. Sarah, please, can we see you? Can we talk? I know we don't deserve it, but please. Emma starts treatment next week, and she's asking for you. She wants to apologize in person. We all do. I don't think that's a good idea. Please. My mother's voice cracked. I'm not asking you to forgive us. I'm not even asking you to be part of this family again if you don't want to. But Emma is terrified, and she wants her sister. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. 5 minutes of your time. I found myself agreeing before I'd consciously made the decision. Maybe I needed closure. Maybe I needed to see them face the consequences of their choices. Maybe I was just curious about who they'd become in the 6 months since I'd cut them off. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop in Cambridge the next afternoon, neutral territory, where I could leave whenever I wanted. I arrived 15 minutes early, ordered a coffee, and sat in the back corner with a clear view of the entrance. When my family walked in, I almost didn't recognize them. My mother had aged a decade in 6 months. Her hair, always perfectly styled, was streaked with gray she hadn't bothered to cover. She looked thin, drawn, exhausted. My father looked equally worn, his usually confident stride replaced by something uncertain, almost fragile. But it was Emma who shocked me most. She'd lost at least 30 pounds, her once vibrant face pale and drawn. She wore a baseball cap to cover her thinning hair, and she moved slowly, carefully, like someone decades older. This wasn't the carefree girl from her birthday party photos. This was someone who understood mortality. They spotted me and made their way over. For a moment, we all just stared at each other, years of unspoken words hanging between us. Emma spoke first. You look good, Sarah. Really good. Thank you. How are you feeling? Scared, tired, grateful I got into the trial. She paused. We know you helped. Don't pretend you didn't. The doctor who called mentioned my case had been carefully reviewed, and that I should be thankful for unexpected advocacy. We're not stupid. I didn't confirm or deny. If someone advocated for you, it's because your medical profile fit the trial criteria. My mother reached across the table like she was going to take my hand, then thought better of it. Sarah, we need you to know we've spent every day since your graduation replaying our choices. I've watched your commencement speech so many times I can recite it from memory. When you talked about being emotionally absent while physically present, I finally understood what we'd done to you for 21 years. Funny how crisis brings clarity, I said, my voice flat. My father flinched. You have every right to hate us. Every right to tell us to go to hell and never speak to us again. But we need to say this whether you want to hear it or not. We failed you. Not just by missing your graduation, but for your entire life. We treated you like you didn't need us because you were competent and self-sufficient. And we treated Emma like she needed constant attention because she demanded it. We created a dynamic where your achievements didn't matter and her mediocrity deserved celebration. You're absolutely right, I said, surprised by how calm I felt. You did fail me, repeatedly, consistently. And then you had the audacity to call me selfish when I finally asked you to show up for one day, one single day that mattered to me. Emma started crying silently, tears streaming down her pale face. I knew it was wrong. I knew my party should have been rescheduled. But I was selfish and spoiled, and I told myself your graduation was just another academic thing, that you'd have so many achievements it didn't matter if we missed one. I was so wrong. If you're still watching, please hit that subscribe button to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support means everything, and clicking subscribe takes just 2 seconds. Please join our community right now. Here's what you need to understand, I said, looking at each of them in turn. I spent my entire childhood and adolescence and early adulthood believing that if I just achieved enough, accomplished enough, proved enough, you'd finally see me. I thought if I got into Harvard, you'd be proud. If I maintained a perfect GPA, you'd notice. If I gave the commencement speech, You'd understand that I'd made something of myself. But you didn't come. And in that moment, standing on that stage alone, I realized something. Your validation wasn't what I needed. Your presence wasn't what would make me whole. I was already enough. I'd always been enough. And your inability to see that was your failing, not mine. My mother was crying now too, quiet sobs she tried to muffle with her hand. You're right. You've always been enough. More than enough. And we were too blind and stupid and focused on Emma to see what was right in front of us. So what do you want from me now? I asked. Forgiveness. Reconciliation? A relationship where we pretend the past 21 years didn't happen? Emma shook her head weakly. We don't deserve forgiveness. We just wanted to thank you for whatever you did to help me, and to tell you we're sorry. That's it. We're not asking you to be part of this family again. We know we destroyed that chance. I sat back, processing their words. They looked broken, remorseful, genuinely devastated by their choices. And I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not vindication. Just a profound indifference. I'll tell you what's going to happen, I said finally. Emma, I hope the treatment works. I genuinely do. You're young, and you have your whole life ahead of you, and you deserve the chance to live it. But here's the thing. I don't hate you, any of you. I just don't need you. I've built a life that's fulfilling and meaningful without you in it, and I'm not interested in going backward. My father's face crumpled. Sarah, please, don't close this door permanently. Give us a chance to prove we've changed. Why should I? So you can feel better about yourselves? So you can ease your guilt? I'm not your emotional support child. I'm not here to make you feel like better people because you've learned your lesson. You made your choices, and they had consequences. And sometimes consequences are permanent. We're your family, my mother said desperately. That has to count for something. Being related by blood doesn't make you family, I replied, echoing a line from my graduation speech. Family is people who show up. Family is people who see you, really see you, and value you for who you are. Family is people who make you a priority, not an afterthought. By that definition, I have a wonderful family, friends, colleagues, a partner who treats me like I matter. You're just people I used to know who happen to share my DNA. The silence that followed was heavy, painful. Emma stared at the table. My mother pressed her napkin to her eyes. My father looked like he'd been physically struck. Is there anything we can do? My father asked finally, his voice barely above a whisper. Anything at all to earn a second chance? I considered the question honestly. Maybe in time. Maybe after you've proven that your remorse is real and lasting, not just a panic response to crisis. Maybe after you've done the work to understand why your behavior was harmful, not just that it was harmful. Maybe, but not now. Right now, I need you to respect my boundaries and give me space. How much space? My mother asked. Weeks? Months? Years? I don't know. As much as I need. And you don't get to put a timeline on my healing from 21 years of neglect just because it's inconvenient for you. Emma looked up at me, her eyes red and swollen. Will you at least let us update you on my treatment? Not to manipulate you or guilt you, just... I'd like you to know how things go, even if you don't respond. I thought about it. You can email me updates, brief, factual updates about your medical progress. Nothing else. No attempts at emotional manipulation, no guilt trips, no requests for visits or calls. Just medical updates. If you can respect that boundary, then yes. Thank you, Emma whispered. That's more than we deserve. You're right, it is. But I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because despite everything, I don't want you to die. That doesn't mean I forgive you or want a relationship. It just means I'm a decent person. Make sure you're subscribed to see how this family's journey continues. We're almost at our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and your subscription helps us keep bringing real emotional stories like this one. Hit that subscribe button now. I stood to leave. My family remained seated, looking small and broken and lost. For years, I'd fantasized about this moment, them realizing what they'd lost, apologizing, begging for another chance. In my fantasies, I'd felt powerful and vindicated. In reality, I just felt tired. "Sarah," my mother called as I reached the door. "I know you don't want to hear this, but I need to say it anyway. I love you. I've always loved you. I just didn't show it the way I should have, the way you deserved." I turned back to look at her. "Mom, I believe you love me. I just don't think you like me very much, and I don't think you ever did. Emma was exciting and dramatic and social. I was quiet and studious and independent. You loved the idea of me, but you didn't really want to spend time with the reality of me, and that's okay. Not everyone is meant to be a parent, and not every parent is good at parenting every child. But I needed more than love in theory. I needed presence in practice, and you couldn't give me that." I left before anyone could respond, walking out into the cool Cambridge afternoon feeling lighter than I had in months. Over the next year, I received monthly emails from Emma updating me on her treatment. The news was mostly positive. The experimental immunotherapy was working. Her symptoms stabilized, then improved. She regained weight, her hair grew back, her energy returned. The emails were short and factual, respecting the boundaries I'd set. I didn't respond to any of them. My life continued to flourish. I published 3 papers in prestigious journals. I got promoted to senior research assistant. My relationship evolved into an engagement. I was happy, genuinely happy, in a way I'd never been when I was still seeking my family's approval. 18 months after that coffee shop meeting, I received an email from Emma that was different from the others. The subject line read, "No longer a patient." The email said, "Sarah, I wanted you to know that I've been declared in full remission. The trial worked. I'm healthy. I'm going back to school to finish my degree. I'm trying to become a person who deserves a sister like you. I don't expect you to care, but I thought you should know. Also, I want you to know that I've been in therapy working through my entitlement and narcissism. Mom and Dad are in therapy too, separately and together. We're all trying to understand how we became people who could treat you the way we did. This isn't a plea for reconciliation, just an update that we're working on being better humans. Thank you for giving me the chance to become that person." I read the email 3 times. I felt glad she was healthy, proud she was taking accountability, hopeful she might actually change. But I still didn't respond. 2 years after graduation, I got accepted into a doctoral program at Stanford University in California. It was my dream opportunity, a full scholarship, working with the leading researcher in my field, a chance to make real contributions to neuroscience. It meant leaving Boston, leaving the life I'd built, starting over on the opposite coast. It also meant putting 3,000 miles between myself and my family. I announced my acceptance on the professional social media platform my colleagues used. Within hours, I received a message from Emma. "Congratulations on Stanford. That's incredible. You're going to do amazing things. I won't ask you to see me before you leave, but I wanted you to know I'm proud of you. I'm sorry I never said that before." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I did something I hadn't done in 2 years. I responded, "Thank you. I hope you stay healthy." It wasn't much, but it was something. A tiny crack in the wall I'd built. The night before I left for California, there was a knock on my apartment door. I looked through the peephole and saw my father standing in the hallway, alone. He looked older, but healthier than the broken man I'd seen at the coffee shop 2 years earlier. I opened the door but didn't invite him in. "What are you doing here?" "I heard you were leaving tomorrow. I wanted to give you something before you go. He held out a large envelope. You don't have to open it now. You don't have to open it ever if you don't want to. But I needed to give it to you. I took the envelope. Is that it? No. I also wanted to tell you that you were right about everything. We didn't like you as much as we loved you. Emma was easy, entertaining, uncomplicated. You were deep and serious and challenging. She made us feel like good parents because she needed us. You made us feel inadequate because you didn't. So we avoided you while convincing ourselves we were treating you girls equally. We were cowards and terrible parents, and you deserved so much better. I did deserve better, I agreed. But I found better. I built better. I created a life where I don't need people who treat me like an inconvenience. He nodded, tears in his eyes. I know. And I'm grateful you did, even though it means losing you. You've become an extraordinary person despite us, not because of us. I just wanted you to know that I see that now. Too late. But I see it. Please subscribe right now if you've connected with Sarah's story. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers, and your support helps us continue sharing these important stories. Just click that red subscribe button. After my father left, I opened the envelope. Inside was a leather-bound photo album. The first page had a note in my father's handwriting. Sarah, these are all the moments we missed or didn't appreciate. We compiled this to remind ourselves of what we lost, not to manipulate you into forgiving us. You don't have to keep it, but we wanted you to know we finally see you. The album was full of photos I'd never seen. Me at my high school graduation, looking proud and hopeful. Me at various academic awards ceremonies, always standing alone or with teachers. Me in my Harvard dorm room during Parents' Weekend, the weekend my parents had canceled to attend one of Emma's cheerleading competitions. Someone, probably a classmate, had taken photos of me studying in the library, eating alone in the dining hall, walking across campus with my arms full of books. The last page had a photo of me giving my commencement speech at Harvard. I was mid-sentence, one hand raised in emphasis, my face animated and passionate. Someone in the audience had taken it, probably just a random proud parent capturing the moment. Below it, my mother had written, "We should have been there. We will regret missing this moment for the rest of our lives. We're sorry." I closed the album and put it in my suitcase. I didn't forgive them, but I kept it. I've been in California for 3 years now. I'm thriving in my doctoral program. My research on neuroplasticity has been featured in several major publications. I got married last year to my partner from Boston, who moved across the country to support my dreams without hesitation. That's what real love looks like. Someone who shows up. I still receive quarterly emails from Emma. She graduated college, got a job at a nonprofit working with underserved youth, continues therapy, and by all accounts has become a genuinely better person. My parents send cards on holidays, nothing too emotional, just acknowledgments that they're thinking of me. I don't respond often. Maybe twice a year, brief updates that I'm alive and well. It's not reconciliation, but it's not complete estrangement either. It's a boundary that works for me. Last month, I received an invitation to Emma's wedding. It came with a handwritten note. "Sarah, I don't expect you to come. I understand if you don't want to be there, but you're my sister. And even though I destroyed that relationship, I wanted you to know you're invited. No pressure, no guilt, just an invitation. I hope you're happy in California. I hope life is giving you everything you deserve. I haven't decided if I'll go. Part of me wants to witness the person Emma has become, to see if her growth is real and lasting. Part of me knows that attending would open a door I've worked hard to close, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that. Maybe I'll go. Maybe I won't. But here's what I've learned. My worth isn't determined by my family's ability to recognize it. My achievements don't require their validation to matter. My happiness doesn't depend on their presence in my life. They ignored my graduation at Harvard to go to my sister's party, and they regretted that decision. But their regret is their burden to carry, not mine. I've spent too many years carrying the weight of their neglect. I'm done now. I'm building a life filled with people who choose me, who celebrate me, who show up for me consistently and enthusiastically. That's the family I deserve, and that's the family I've created. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I gave the commencement address at Harvard University to a crowd of 30,000 people, and not a single member of my biological family was there to witness it. And you know what? I'm okay with that now. Better than okay. I'm free. The people who were supposed to love me unconditionally taught me that family is a choice, not an obligation. They taught me that boundaries are necessary and healthy. They taught me that I am enough, all by myself, without their approval or presence. So to everyone who's ever felt invisible in their own family, who's ever begged for crumbs of attention from people who should have given you feasts of love, who's ever stood alone at their biggest moment while everyone else was surrounded by support, you're not alone. You're not broken. You're not too much or not enough. You're exactly who you're supposed to be, and the right people will see that and celebrate that and show up for that. The wrong people will miss your Harvard graduation for a birthday party. Let them. Their loss, not yours. Before we close, please make sure you're subscribed to this channel. We've worked hard to build this community, and we're so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. Your subscription literally takes 2 seconds, but helps us keep creating content like this. Just click that subscribe button right now and be part of our journey. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there feel less alone in their own family struggles. Remember, you deserve people who choose you every single time.